Excellent. Good evening, all. I'd like to welcome to the Village Council meeting of Monday, September 28th, 2020. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Milovich Walters.
Present.
Commissioner Polk.
Present.
Commissioner Reed.
Present.
Commissioner Pavlatis. And Mayor Mahoney.
Here, thank you. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just as a matter of housekeeping, I would like to move the agenda item under Administrator Bain's report relating to land acquisition services to follow the executive session that is scheduled for this evening. Attorney Baird, do we need to get an approval to do that, or?
You just ask for the concurrence of the board and say, does anyone have any objection to that?
Okay, does anyone have any objection to moving that matter to after the executive session? Okay, thank you very much. Approval of minutes, you have in your packet this evening an approval or draft of the minutes from our last meeting on September 14th. Any questions, comments? If not, I would seek a motion to approve at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Milovich Walters.
Yes.
Commissioner Polk.
Yep.
Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes. Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine or have been brought forward at the direction of the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted with one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Item A, to accept a deed restriction covenant. The owner of 28 Meadow Road has been issued a building permit to construct a single-family residence on the property. As part of this building permit, the owner is required to construct and maintain an on-site detention pond. To ensure that the existing and future property owners would be aware of the need to maintain the stormwater management facility, the village is requiring the recordation of a deed restriction covenant. The deed restriction also makes it clear that the owner of the property is responsible for the operation and maintenance of the pond and prohibits any alteration to the detention pond without village approval. Item B, to ratify approval of the Community Association Institute Illinois Chapter raffles license for a raffle that was held on Thursday, September 24th, 2020. Item C, to approve payment of invoices on the warrant list dated September 28th, 2020 in the amount of $111,208.61. Old business, any items of
I'd
old?
like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd like to second that.
Excellent. Hearing a motion in a second, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Milovich Walters.
Yes.
Commissioner Polk.
Yes.
Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes, thank you. Sometimes I'm just going too fast.
Evidently.
Any items of old business to be brought before the council? Hearing no such items, I would move to information updates, Public Works and Street, Recreation Report, Commissioner Milovich Walters.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. I do have a couple items on the agenda tonight. The first is regarding the proposal from Concentric Integration to upgrade the professional logic controllers for the water system and switch communication from at least landline connections to Ethernet cellular connections. By way of background, we've come to a point where the professional logic controllers, or PLCs, in the SCADA system that controls the village water system have become obsolete and will not be able to be supported going forward. Parts are no longer to be able to be found for the PLCs that are in the water tower and the booster station. Parts are available on a limited basis for the PLC at the pumping station. All three need to be replaced. In doing this project, it's also a good time to switch our communications from leased landlines to Ethernet cellular. This project has been on the books for a couple of years and can no longer wait. These improvements will allow for better remote access to each system component. The village had received a proposal from Concentric Integration in 2019 for this project at a cost of $67,500. Concentric has been maintaining our SCADA communication system since 2016. Public Works asked for an updated proposal this August, and the proposal covers all the work related to installing the new equipment, any programming required, removal of old equipment, cellular coverage for 1 year, and a 1-year warranty on the new equipment. The updated cost for the work is the same as in 2019, so they did not raise the price. It's $67,500. This price includes an allowance of $5,000 for any new antenna that may be required. If the antenna work with the new system, as the existing one does, then the village will not be charged that amount. Rather than requesting proposals from other companies for this specialized work, we recommend this proposal be approved. Concentric is familiar with our system and upgrades that have been made since 2016. We did budget $75,000 in the water fund for this fiscal year to cover this item. Any questions regarding it? If not, I'd like to make a motion to waive the bidding process and to approve the proposal from Concentric Integration in the amount of $67,500 to provide labor and equipment necessary to replace the 3 PLCs and communication equipment at the water pumping station, water booster station, and the water tower.
Second?
Any questions? Hearing a motion and a second, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Milovich Walters?
Yes.
Commissioner Polk?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
And Mayor Mahoney?
Yes.
The second item I have on the agenda is regarding a licensing agreement for use of our recreation center by Palos Community School District 118. And this is to extend the existing lease through October 2020. District 118 uses or wishes to continue to use the lower level of the Palos Park Recreation Center for education programs, remote learning, and before and after school care to be operated by the District 118's contractor, Kids Fit Foundation, also known as Ivy League Kids. District 118 will be offering in-class learning beginning October 7th for those students and their parents wishing to participate. The Village Council approved an initial licensing agreement with the district on August 24th for the month of September, and a modified agreement will cover the period of October 1st through October 30th on the weekdays, Monday through Friday, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's 17 days. And the district will pay the village $4,532 as a fee for using that portion of the recreation facility. This agreement will allow School District 118 to rent space to be able to offer a learning center for school district students and provide before and after school care. There's a potential for this type of program to continue past the end of October, whereby the district or its contractor, Ivy League Kids, will continue to rent space for additional months for a like offering. It's been going great having this program, and just as an aside, I've shared what our school district, how they creatively came up with solutions and worked with us where we're not having lots of programs or anything in our building anyway. It's a great marriage, and when I tell other people in other school districts about it, they think, wow, why didn't our district think of that, and they're going and sharing this idea, with people, so.
That's why it's important to have good and open communication lines with your school district boards and administrators, which I think we do on multiple levels with the police department and our administration. So, excellent results.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the licensing agreement with School District 118 for use of the Recreation Center for October 2020.
Second?
Hearing a motion and a second, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Milovich Walters?
Yes.
Commissioner Polk?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney?
Yes, thank you.
Just a couple quick announcements. Monday, October 5th, the chipper service will be starting up again. We will start on the east side of the village and will service all the village streets from east to west through the entire village. Please have your tripping materials placed on the right-of-way by 7 a.m. Monday, October 5th. And there's a job posting for building attendants. So if you have somebody interested in being a building attendant in our recreation center, primary responsibilities include general maintenance and cleaning of the recreation center inside and out. set up for recreational activities, facility rentals, special events and meetings, maintenance of the recreation equipment. If you or somebody you know is interested, please send your resume and application, which you can find online at palospark.org, but then send those items to recreation@palospark.org. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Reed, the Building and Public Property Report.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. As the leaves change their colors and the days get shorter, take the time this autumn to prepare for the oncoming cold weather. Change your furnace filters, replace your batteries and smoke detectors, inspect and clean gutters, schedule a chimney sweep, test emergency backup generators, and rake your leaves and disconnect the garden hoses. During the time period of September 9 through the 23rd, the building department processed 19 permits, resulting in $11,502.24 in permit fees. 17 inspections were completed during that time period. Previous report, we had a total of $338,415.59 in year-to-date, a total of $342,690.59. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner. Public Health and Safety Report. Commissioner Polk.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. We'll start with the police activity report from the 14th through the 27th of September. We had 1,619 calls. We're running this year to date about 22% above what we've historically run. We've written 27 adjudication tickets and an additional 16 traffic tickets, 33 written warnings, 31 verbal warnings, an additional 16 case reports, arrested 6 adults, fortunately no juveniles, impounded 2 vehicles, performed 19 senior checks, an additional 39 citizen assists, and numerous ongoing community contacts. I just have a couple of quick announcements. We here at Palos Park have many seasons. We are now in the middle of the deer rut season. You may not have a calendar that indicates this, but I assure you that the deer are out looking for love. I want to make sure that motorists understand to slow down, particularly just before sunrise and just after sundown, to reduce the risk of having a close encounter with a love-struck deer, struck being intentional. They're not paying attention to what's going on. You should be. And remember a couple of things. First of all, they often travel in pairs or triplets or quadruplets. So if you see one cross the road, slow down, because it's likely that there are 2 or 3 that are following. And most of this movement occurs from about the second week in October through mid-November. So be aware. We have not found any available commercial device that one can attach to one's car that will significantly reduce your risk of getting hit by or hitting a deer. So don't waste your money. A horn works pretty well, but we find that vigilance and speed are generally what's going to help you avoid a collision with a love-struck deer. Remember that wet leaves on roadways are as slippery as snow, and that numerous dry leaves can hide other things like potholes and curbs and road markings and other hazards. So please be careful as the leaves begin to fall. And I want to talk a little bit about some scam issues that we're dealing with. So we have a police project that has a very long name, but basically is Project Stop It. And the project is meant to educate particularly some of our older residents who periodically become victims to a variety of different scams. We've seen a couple of these again most recently. The first is a ruse entry or an unlawful entry. In these occurrences, generally force is not used to enter the home, but the offenders specifically target a vulnerable, generally older resident. Someone will come up to them and ask them a question or tell them that they need to go out on the back and take a look at their electricity lines or their pond or their boundary lines or a fence, and that's merely a ruse to get you away from the house so that the second person can go in your open door and take whatever they want. Many of the residents feel embarrassed about falling victim to these kinds of scams and fail to report it to the police. We understand your embarrassment, but as a public safety measure, these are important to report. It gives us an idea about where they're occurring and under what kind of guise they're occurring. So again, if someone asks you to come outside and you have not called someone to come and inspect something for you, please take a moment, give us a call. 911 works really well under these circumstances, and we'll be happy to check it out for you and send a patrol car and make sure that everything is on the up and up. I can buy a public service utility vest on Amazon and have it delivered tomorrow and not have any credentials that make me a ComEd worker or a telephone worker or a gas worker or the telephone company. So again, don't take the way that they're dressed as being an assurance that they're actually doing what they tell you that they're doing. So again, be careful. And this is also the time of the year where people get scammed by people going door to door offering some home improvement projects, clean your gutters, resurface your driveways. If it sounds too good to be true, it generally is. And generally, reputable companies aren't going door to door soliciting business. So the fact that Dan was next door resurfacing a driveway, noticed your driveway had some cracks, and for the low price of some ridiculous amount of money will resurface you because he's just working next door, doesn't mean that that's someone that you should actually trust. Again, any issues, concerns, please don't hesitate to use 911. That's what it's there for. We'll come out, we'll give you a hand and make sure that everything is on the up and up. I have one more quick announcement. We have a restaurant in town, the Original Island Shrimp House, that's on LaGrange, and they are holding a first responder benefit. It's a seafood boil. It's this weekend. Happens on Friday and Saturday nights. There's one seating on Friday night, 2 seatings on Saturday. There's also a special breakfast on Saturday morning for the children. There'll be lots of first responder equipment out in the parking lot on Saturday morning. The event is by ticketed invitation only. There's a limited number of tickets. And if you're interested, please call the Shrimp House directly at 708-923-6646. Again, 1 seating Friday evening, 2 seating Saturday evening, and a breakfast on Saturday morning. Chief, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Nothing, Commissioner.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Accounts and Finances report, Commissioner Palos is absent this evening. Is there anything to report in his stead? I am seeing the village manager saying no. I have no report. Clerk Aragoni.
Yes, I have a couple of announcements. The last day to register to vote online is October 18th. You can also register to vote on Election Day at your polling place. Early voting begins October 19th. Nearby locations for early voting include Palos Heights Recreation Center and Orland Township. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Manager Boehm, do you have anything other than the... okay, I'm going to move to announcements. The deadline for the 2020 census is on September 30th. It only takes a few minutes. Go to 2020census.gov or call 844-330-2020 to be counted. Your census response will help direct billions of dollars in federal funds to communities like ours, helping to fund education, healthcare, infrastructure, and employment and training programs. Anyone from the audience like to address the council at this time? Hearing no such requests, I would entertain a motion to recess to executive session to discuss pending litigation and to approve and then review for release executive session minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Hearing a motion and a second, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Milovich Walters?
Yes.
Commissioner Polk?
Yep.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
And Mayor Mahoney.
Yes. Thank you. We will be back.